You're listening to Empyrean's podcast, Benefits and Beyond. This podcast is a collaborative production involving both artificial intelligence and human creators, blending machine-generated and human-curated content.
Hey there, welcome to your deep dive.
We're going deep into AI in the public sector. And
Well, like flying cars AI,
Right.
but how it's changing the way governments work right now.
hiring, training, those performance reviews, all getting an AI makeover.
It's already happening, yeah.
Yeah. So we dug into this ebook, AI in the Modern Workplace Public Sector.
Okay.
And I got to say, the first few chapters on AI and HR
Hmm.
almost sounded too good to be true.
Well, picture this. No more.
Like, really?
Giant stacks of resumes.
Oh, tell me more.
AI can blast through that initial screening,
No.
pull out the best candidates, but based
So
on
it's not just picking people at random.
No, you give it criteria. So for,
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
a park ranger job,
All right.
it'll zero in on folks with actual conservation experience.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Based on what you actually need for the job.
Exactly. Working smarter.
And this isn't some, far off thing, right? The ebook mentioned the City Transit Authority.
Okay.
They used AI for bus driver applications
Uh-huh.
and their screening time cut by 70%.
Wow.
Plus, way better employee retention afterwards.
Which means
They were making good hires from the start.
it really takes out the guesswork.
Yeah.
You're using data to find those best fit candidates.
Instead of just hoping someone's resume is, shiny enough
Yeah,
to catch your eye,
exactly.
they're finding the people who can actually do the job.
That's the dream.
That's got to be a relief, honestly.
Speaking of relief, think about how AI could even make those first few weeks on the job easier.
Okay, yeah.
Especially in government, new hires, they often hit a wall.
That whole onboarding process.
Instead of me drowning in handbooks, you're saying AI could be like, my guide.
Exactly. Picture this. Interactive virtual building tours.
Oh, that's cool.
Or even AI mentors popping up to answer questions those first few weeks.
Like when you actually need help the most.
That's the key.
Okay, now that's what I'm talking about. No more getting lost trying to find my desk on the first day.
That's right. And it's not just, here's your desk, good luck. The book talked about how AI can tailor those training modules, like how you learn best.
Oh, interesting.
Even give you real-time feedback, adjust the difficulty as you go.
Like a personalized tutor, but digital.
Exactly.
So if I'm a visual learner.
Yeah. AI would know to use more charts and stuff instead of just those boring training videos.
Precisely. More engaging and way more effective for you.
That's incredible.
And that's not even scratching the surface. Let's talk performance reviews.
Okay.
An area where maybe a little AI help wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, for everyone involved. So you're saying AI could make performance reviews better.
So instead of those once a year, AI can track things in real time.
Okay.
Constant feedback loop. You know where you stand.
No more surprises months later when you've already forgotten about a project.
That's it. Less stressful, more productive.
I like the sound of that.
And because it's data-based,
Right.
it takes out some of that potential for,
Oh, the human bias.
Exactly. It's all about the evidence. So you know what to improve.
It's like having an objective observer in the room,
Right.
which could be really helpful, honestly, for something like that. We touched on AI and making hiring more equitable, but I'd love to hear some real-world examples. Like, what if I'm applying for, say, a policy analyst position? Where does AI come in?
So think about it. In the past, your resume, it might have gotten lost in the pile, or maybe the keywords weren't, flashy enough.
Right.
With AI, it's less about how the resume looks,
Okay.
more about what you actually bring to the table.
So it cuts through all the noise and gets to the important stuff.
Exactly. They can use these systems, analyze the job description, figure out the core skills needed,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
scan those applications to find the people who have them.
Right. So it doesn't matter if someone's resume looks super fancy if they don't have the skills to back it up.
Exactly. And it's not just looking at one job at a time either.
Okay, so it gets bigger than that.
AI can look at the whole workforce, across government agencies even.
Like a bird's eye view of everyone and what they're good at. Are we talking about, seeing which departments need more people with data analysis skills, for example?
Yes. Or project management, or whatever it is.
Okay, that's pretty impressive.
It's about having the right people with the right skills in the right roles.
To best serve the public. Okay, I'm sold on the AI for HR thing.
Yeah.
But you also flagged this research paper for our deep dive today.
Yes.
Algorithmic accountability it's called, and it's about AI ethics in government.
That's the one.
And it sounds like, maybe, this paper has a different take on all this AI stuff.
It definitely digs into some of the challenges, yeah.
Okay, so not all sunshine and roses then. What kind of challenges are we talking about?
One of the big ones is bias. Like, how to make sure AI doesn't actually make bias worse.
But wait, I thought AI was supposed to help reduce bias by focusing on skills instead of, someone's background or whatever.
That's the goal. But here's the thing. AI is only as good as the data it learns from.
Oh, I see.
So if the data itself is biased...
It's going to learn those biases even if we don't want it to.
Exactly. If historically there haven't been many women, say, in leadership positions,
Yeah.
the AI might wrongly conclude that women aren't suited for leadership.
Which is obviously not true. Just because it hasn't happened much in the past doesn't mean it can't happen in the future.
That's where the algorithmic accountability comes in.
Okay, so we can't just blindly trust an algorithm because it sounds all official and techie. We have to make sure the algorithms themselves are fair.
You got it. Building in safeguards, watching for unintended consequences, that's crucial.
It's like we need AI to be our partner in creating a more equitable world, not accidentally make things worse. So it's not just about the tech itself. It's about how we choose to use it. Which brings us to this policy brief from the Government Technology Innovation Center, right?
Yes.
Human-centered AI, that's what they're calling for.
And they're focusing on solutions, which I appreciate.
Okay, I'm all for solutions. So how do we actually make AI in government more human-centered? What's their big idea?
That's the big idea. Human needs front and center.
Okay, but how do we get there? Like, how do we make sure it's not just a bunch of tech people deciding this stuff?
Well, they actually emphasize involving citizens.
Oh, interesting.
Like from the start, in the design even.
So it's about actually understanding what people need, not just guessing.
Exactly. If we want AI to solve real problems for people,
Yeah.
we got to include those people in the process. Makes sense, right?
It does. But AI can be so complex. How do you even explain that to someone who's not, like, a programmer?
And they talk about that too, about transparency.
Right, because if I don't understand it, why would I trust it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Citizens got to know how this stuff works, how it affects them.
Okay, transparency makes sense, but how do you explain, like, a complicated algorithm in a way that's easy to understand?
Right. So they suggest things like ditching the jargon,
Oh, good.
using visuals, charts, graphs, things like that.
So meeting people where they're at, making it make sense to them.
Exactly.
I like it. So it's not just about, hey, look at this cool AI we built.
Yep.
It's, hey, we built this cool AI to help you, and here's how it works.
That's the spirit.
We've covered a lot of ground here, from AI making HR smoother to, hopefully making government more equitable.
It's a huge topic.
It really is. So big picture. What's the one thing you really want our listener to walk away with today?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. The future of AI, it's not set in stone.
Okay.
It's not
Yeah.
inevitable. It's what we decide it's going to be.
So we're not just along for the ride.
No way. We're in the driver's seat, but we got to grab the wheel,
That's a great analogy. And that means staying informed, right? Like, what can our listener do to make sure they're part of this conversation, not just observing from the sidelines?
Stay curious, read up on this stuff, listen to podcasts, like you said.
Right, like this one.
Exactly. And talk about it. AI is not just some tech thing. It's affecting our lives already.
More and more every day.
So we got to be part of shaping how that goes.
I love that. Knowledge is power. Well, you've given us a lot to think about, I'll say that. Any parting words of wisdom as we wrap up our AI deep dive?
Just this. Stay engaged, keep learning, and never stop asking those big, important questions.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for being here. It's always a pleasure picking your brain about this stuff.
Always fun to chat about AI. Thanks for having me.
And to our listener, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into AI and the public sector. Until next time, stay curious.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and follow us on LinkedIn. We'll be back with more great content in our next episode.